Welcome to another edition of CSI,
Courtship,
Spirituality,
and Intimacy.
My name is Wale Ade.
I am Candace Oglesby.
And we're happy to bring the topic today of advice that we have for women who are trying to date. We're giving advice, 4 tips for women who want to date.
And this is a 2-part series, so men, we're coming for you next. Don't you wanna get cozy with me? We'll dive into a reverie. Oh, don't you wanna get cozy? We'll sail across an ocean of sheets.
And so we have 4 tips today, and we want to get started right away. And so, Candace, what is a tip that you would give to women who want to date or date men in the field today?
Well, I think my first tip would be, ladies, be flexible. I know that sometimes we come with our lists and we already have this idea about who our person is. But I would say, see if you can set that list to the side and consider dating outside of your window, your box, and what you're accustomed to dating. So I will say that I had never thought about dating a pastor. In fact, I think I was anti dating pastors because of my own past personal experiences and what I observed from other people. And then just I knew how sometimes people could carry themselves in the church. And so I think I was like anti, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not interested in that. And so it just so happened that, Wale and I have shared our story about how we met, but, we met on a dating site, and that was oblivious to me when Wale and I first talked to each other. But I'm grateful that I dated outside of my box and what I am accustomed to. It's been one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. It's been one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. So I'm going to say, ladies, if you can possibly try to tear up the list, put it to the side, and be willing to date outside of the box. Take a chance on yourself to date someone that, you wouldn't consider dating, and just kind of see how it goes. Doesn't have to be a lifetime commitment, right? We're not saying that you need to marry this person, but definitely give yourself the opportunity to try something new. I know that change can be quite scary for folks, but you might be surprised what's on the other side of that change. So date someone that you're not used to dating.
You heard that? The best decision she has ever made in her life. And so, it's definitely been a great decision. Honestly, in the profile picture, she was just mesmerized by my eyes, And so, but that's great advice. I think people have a idea of what they want, but a lot of times, God's just laughing like, okay, we're going to send you exactly what you need. And so, be open to that. But for me, I think one of the things that I would really recommend, from my own experience, one of the things that I've seen in my dating experiences is that sometimes it seems like, I would try to be open, women, if put in the comments if you agree. Do you like honesty from your men? Do you like men to tell you the truth? And sometimes, us as men, we're very scared of that because when I have, and other men that I've talked to have been honest, whatever it may be, like, I know sometimes women be like, how do I look in this dress, right? Or, different things.
Have I lost weight?
And we like, we're stuck in a tough place because if you haven't, how can we be honest? And so we're just asking, that in a dating relationship, if you really want honesty from the man, be open to receive that honesty, and so because we want to be honest. To be honest, I said to be honest, like we really want to be honest. I think for a man that's really into you, we want that. We're talking about intimacy, and I think honesty goes with intimacy, and we want to do that. But sometimes it seems like like in my experience that it's blown up in my face, right? Or I felt like at times it wasn't well received, or even thrown back at me, and so what that made me want to do from then on is like just lie or not tell you the truth or shut down or kind of change the subject, even though I really in my heart of hearts wanted to tell the truth. And so as long as we don't get penalized for telling the truth, I think we'll be okay.
And sometimes, right, honesty can be triggering, right, to stuff that we're already carrying. And so that can be, right, some misplaced frustration and anger, when our partner tells us the truth, especially if that is something that we're asking. And so always say, if you hear something that triggers you, even in an honest moment, to maybe ask for a pause and say like, hey, that didn't land on me too well. Let me kind of sit with what you're saying, and then let me come back and let's have a conversation. But definitely, if we get an honest response, ladies, that doesn't mean shut down. That doesn't mean, get upset. But that means, okay, what is it about this that is triggering something in me? And how can I take care of that? Because that is not our partner's responsibility. That's our responsibility.
And side note, Candace is great at pauses, me not so much. And I want to throw this, this little nugget in there. I know fellas might be watching this, but we got to get the pauses down, because sometimes I know me, when I don't pause, Lord have mercy,
it'd be like
anything come out, Lord have mercy. And so, I just be like, man, why didn't I pause? Why didn't I ask? Because she's so good at that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're pausing, right? But yeah, I got to do better. So, man, let's ask for pauses. Let's ask for pauses.
We're all the work in progress.
Right.
We're all the work
that hit me here. I was triggered. So, what's your next advice that you have for women when it comes to dating in the dating field? We're talking about dating with the opposite gender, so men.
So my second piece of advice is, ladies, we got to make time to date, especially as career-oriented women. And this is something that I struggle with even in a relationship. I was just telling Wale today, I appreciated him getting on me to be intentional. I kind of have really forgotten that we had planned to go out on a date. And so if he wouldn't have said anything, I just would have been upstairs getting lost in work. And so, that's something that we've talked about. So dramatic. That's something that we've talked about, in our relationship is, am I putting too much on my plate? Some of my responsibilities. In fact, he just told me this before we got on camera. But, how much am I putting on my plate? Am I doing to myself? Not necessarily that somebody else is, is doing this to me, but necessarily, it's my drive to be successful. And I know that a lot of career-oriented women such as myself, right, we ask for these things, we will these things into our lives, but when we get them, it's like we don't always know how to make time, to be in a relationship and date. And so I do see this with other, my single girlfriends who are extremely successful. They want to be in a committed, relationships and date. But I'm like, when do you have the time to? When you're always working, or family members always needing something, or a friend is always needing something. And so, ladies, if this is something that we will into our lives, we pray for, we speak into existence, we got to be able to have room to receive the man that, God has for us. And that means being intentional with our time. And sometimes that means not taking on certain job responsibilities. And sometimes that can be hard, right? Because sometimes it can feel like, us denying ourselves, or why do our goals have to be put on the back burner? But, one of the things that I'm starting to realize is that I'm only one person and I can't be everything to everybody. And that also, includes my workload, that includes my friends, that includes my family. I want to be in this relationship, and I've got to make time to be intentional for this relationship.
Amen. So ladies, please make time for your fellas, because we can feel it. Sometimes we don't, it doesn't feel good, you know, to feel like, you know, other things are taking precedence over, you know, your man. And I know this can go vice versa too, you know, but, you know, we're talking to the women today, but, you know, men also, maybe I'm throwing a little extra in the women's thing, but, you know, make sure you're making time for your relationship. And the last tip that we're going to give, and that I have, you know, want to impart on my ladies out there is try to make sure that you're not just receiving, but also make sure that you're giving. And what does that mean? Basically, you know, sometimes, you know, when you get into a relationship, let's say you've been looking for a relationship for a while, you know, you've been trying to, you know, find the right person, and then you kind of find somebody that you know, you vibe with, that you gel with, and then it's like, okay, you know, let me exhale, right? And exhale, and let me just like kind of reap the rewards of this dating relationship. But I think sometimes, you know, from my experience in talking to men, you know, we sometimes feel that, you know, the man is the pursuer, right? And I think that's what a lot of ladies believe. But because we're the pursuer doesn't mean that we also don't like to somewhat be pursued. And that means, you know, kind of putting some intentional effort, kind of putting some thought. Let the dude you're talking to know that you care. You know, send a text, maybe, you know, every now and then. We're not saying that you're going to be the main giver per se, but every, you know, now that, make sure that you consistently know that he's special to you, right? And do something, you know, that kind of shows that in his love language. And so, you know, that's basically what I would say, is just make sure that you're not just receiving everything and saying, oh, this is such a great relationship, but, you know, or a great dating, you know, encounter, but also make sure that you make your man, you know, feel like he's valuable as well.
Like the king he is, you know, I always say Destiny's Child got it right, you know, with the song about catering, you know, to the man. Like, it's okay, ladies, for us to cater to our man, especially if that man is catering to you. Like, it is okay for us to cater. And I think that, you know, one of the things that Wale and I, you know, while we're praying, you know, and setting our intentions, you know, with God, is that we just continue to outlove each other, because we want it to be a conscious daily decision that I'm choosing to be in love, you know, with my partner every day. I'm choosing to love him, take care of him, pray for him, cater to him. And I know that sometimes with the mundaneness of, you know, our routines, sometimes that can get lost, but it's okay to cater to your man.
Awesome. And so these were the 4 tips that we had for women dating advice when you're interacting with men. And so once again, we just thank you for joining our podcast. It's a CSI.
Courtship,
spirituality,
and intimacy.
Once again, this is Wale Ade.
I'm Candace Oglesby.
And we're so glad you joined us. Now, make sure you check out our next video, which will be dating advice for men.
For the men.
Yes, because we're not just trying to get on the sisters. Like, men, we coming for you too. So, you know.
And also, if there are like some things that we miss, please comment below and let us know if there's other dating advice that you would give to the sisters out there.
Listen, Candace usually doesn't miss anything, but I miss a lot of things, right? And so make sure, if I got something wrong, ladies, if you're like, no, I don't like that, you know, go ahead and come for me in the comments. Let me know so that, you know, we can maybe do a part 2, you know, and kind of have some of your ideas in the next video. And men, if you think, you know, there's something that we forgot, you know, that's something that you want the ladies to know about dating, also put that in the comments as well. And so we thank you. Last thing, we almost forgot, merchandise.
Yes.
If you want to support this channel, you know, we have a link to the merchandise down below. And so, you know, go ahead, show us some love. You know, it'll really help. Like, subscribe, comment, share if you like this video, and hit the notification bell if you want to hear more content from us. Yes. And so we thank you once again, and we will see you on the next video.
Bye-bye.